All right, check it. So, you know this thing that's going on about transgender rights in America? Well, I feel it's one of the most ridiculous things about the modern world that we even have to have a discussion about what bathroom some adult can go into. And I laugh at it because I'm here in France, and there was a restroom at the place we went to last night. It was a restroom that had um, urinals for men on one side, sinks, and then stalls for women and stalls for men on the other side. And it meant that even children could, in the principle, see the backs of men standing at a urinal. I've been in many places, for example, like India. People know it all over northern India. There are Delhi, for example, there are urinals all through the city. What's funny about this is this idea that a bathroom has to be attached to a biological sex and all these things that are going on in Carolinas and America, it presupposes a lot that actually doesn't really hold true in the modern day. I bring this up because while I'm not transgender, I am a person who is could be considered gender disconformant. Um, just to give you a clue to what that means, I'll just tell you how young people in my life have described it. Faggot, limp-wristed, sugar in your pants, sweet this, sweet that, all those kind of things. Sissy, sis, all those sorts of things. So it's very clear to me that our society socializes us very early to understand and accept this fixation of gender and sex. So as someone who doesn't fit that, what I also know is that the most well-meaning Christian, for example, since I come from a Christian nation, can actually teach hate, can actually teach their children to bully. Now, as a teacher, for example, in American school, in New Delhi, I think I've had a video about this a few years ago when it happened. It was in the pre-Obama era, before Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, which had an impact on the industry I'm about to talk about. I was bullied by a 12-year-old. I was cornered by an 11th grader, and I was subsequently fired from the school for so-called talking about homosexuality in the class. Of course, subsequent to being bullied by these 12 years old, these children, one of which called me a fag, and I proceeded to facilitate a discussion with a group of 12-year-olds about in-group and out-group and, of course, bullying. But remember, this is, I think, 2005, so we didn't really have bullying in the public lingo. And of course, I mentioned that this was the American school in India. So shortly thereafter, when in the Obama era, when Mrs. Clinton became the Secretary of State, well, she of course abolished that kind of formal discrimination in the among foreign workers, most of whom in India sent their children to the kind of school where I worked. So just all I had to do was wait a few years, and everything completely changed. But it is to say that just look at how socially acceptable it is to bully people based on their gendered identity. We're not really in a free world when we can say that, okay, race is a sensitive topic and we can't talk about people, race and this and that and the other. And if you do talk about race, and you're racist and you can't be PC, and it's exhausting. But at the same time, I think we all agree that gay people, fat people, poor people, we can make as much fun of them as they want. Now, as a gay person, actually one of the targets of this, part of our challenge is to not, A, absorb the fear that this society has about us, or B, put up the shield of arrogance, or put up a shield that blocks people out, because even though that potentially harms us, we also know that there are other experiences that help us, or that we don't want to be excluding ourselves from life simply because of a few bullies. What I find interesting about this, and why I also mention religion, is because across religions, people can be negative, people can be hateful, people can actually teach hate to their children. And the fact that I heard all these words from children, Christian children, mind you, in America and Kentucky, indicates that very clearly, in my part of the world, conservative Christians are A, allowed to dominate the Christian voice, and B, in many ways go unchallenged when it comes to their hatred. But this is the modern world, right? So we want things to be different. So what I'm asking for you to do is, A, Be compassionate for yourself. There's going to be something, some reason, or some way that someone's going to want to outgroup you. The extent to which you can practice not outgrouping other people will also color how people respond to you when you're the one who's outside. B, in the modern world, are we really so comfortable with these antiquated ideas about gender and sexuality? I mean, this fixation of gender and sex. Does it really make sense for us in the modern world when when we know that we want, for example, males to be more present and participatory fathers, or to adopt many traditional roles within the household that might be considered feminine, or in the workplace where we want more and more people to adopt better communication skills, cooperative skills, compassionate skills, all the things that we might have associated in the past with femininity. So from my perspective, gay people are really leading the way. We're the pioneers. And for my gay people out there, if you can survive it, if you can survive childhood in America, then you are gifted. And you need to understand that you're gifted and this planet and this world needs you. It gets better. Not only does it get better, it gets sweeter.